a warm welcome to Wisdom from North. I'm Jannecke, and today I have the joy of being here with Tricia Carr. Tricia is a spiritual teacher, she is an animal communicator, she is a writer, she's an energy healer, and she has a live show. She's a hostess of the Charmed Life with Tricia Carr that I had the honor of being a guest on a few weeks ago. And today I would like to speak about how we can open up to that magic inside and also dive a bit into the universal laws. Hello Tricia, how are you doing today?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much for having me, Jannecke.
I'm excited about this talk because I was wondering, what should we delve into? And then I looked into your site and you wrote about that you help people open up to that magic inside. And you felt that you always had this inspiration within you, but it was repressed. But now you have unlocked that, open up for the inspiration. And I was thinking, magic, I want to talk about that because that is something I connected so much to when I was a child. And I could definitely need it these days. I feel like it's a lot of hard work or a lot of work these days. And sometimes I can lose that perspective of the magic and then I have to remind myself again. And I think that's a case for that many people as children had this magical, outlook on life that everything was an experience, everything was exciting. And I also connected very to the fairies, and I think that's so mystical to me, and I know you know a lot about that too. And that's something I don't know a lot about. So I would love to start by talking about what does it mean to have this outlook, this magical outlook on life? What does that mean to you?
Well, what it means to me truly is being more natural, more like nature. And of course, we are nature. And unfortunately, I think that humans tend to feel that we are in nature or standing upon nature or somehow, this outside thing from nature. But we actually are nature. I mean, we're composed of the elements. Our soul actually comes into this experience creating, we're more soul, more of that energy than we are of the physical energy. But the soul actually works like this vortex kind of energy. All of the intentions, all of the light, all of the energies that is the soul is really like a vortex that cooperates with the energies of the planet Earth and creates our physical form. And so we own that energetic vortex and we own that soul. We can connect to it from any part of the body, but really we can feel it very strongly in the heart center. And so to me, when we're able to feel that magic, we're just being natural. We're being our natural selves. We're being nature as we truly are. And part of what needs, when we get disconnected from that, I find the key really is understanding and loving and accepting ourselves deeply so that we can lose all of the disillusions about being separate, about being something that is unlovable, something that is fractured inside, and being able to coalesce back to that nature of magic.
I find this so interesting because before I even noticed this on your website that you talked about this, because I did research yesterday, I had this jogging tour and all of a sudden the lighting was just so beautiful and I was like, oh my goodness, this is so magical. And I can choose not to see that, but I can also choose to make it bigger. And I realized that many times in my life, I have just rationalized it away. Oh yeah, it looks nice, but the tree just looks like that color right now because the sun is lighting down on it like that, and that's why it looks like that. And I've just rationalized away the magic. And that was a period in my life where I was very left-brained, where I was like, oh, I need an answer and a proof to everything. And then I just realized it is a perception. It's something I have to open up to. It's not like this is true or that is true. It's just I have to put on those glasses.
That's so very true. I mean, there really are infinite perspectives at all times. Even if we were to look at something from a scientific standpoint, there probably are, I don't know, I'm not a scientist, but there are millions, if not infinite perspectives inside science about that one particular thing, if we're talking about the light on the tree. And so this is what's so beautiful about it, is your choice of what you want to land your awareness upon is you're co-creating that event with the tree and the light. It's so amazing. It keeps drawing us back to ourselves, loving ourselves. If we are an expression of God or source energy and we have free will, well, that source energy, that prime creator essence said, go be like me and be love as I am. And we are that. We get to choose that at any time, but we also get to choose to not choose it, and that's really cool because we have ultimate free will. And of course, that journey is really beautiful too, because as you just shared, there were times when I didn't experience that. And then coming out of that and back to the place of choosing the magical perspective about it, that feels so amazing. We call that contrast, or, just to loosen the emotional attachment to struggle or suffering, and to redeem it by knowing that our perspective, where our awareness lands, is a creative act.
Right, because I can just feel that I just had this feeling that there's a lot of women out there who are shouting now, like, my life is not magical because there's so much to do, like 9 to 5, work. Then it's like picking up the children. Then it's like making dinner. It's like no room. Because it's just like pop. And I just have to think about what to do all the time. So would you suggest for people who are like caught up in that time schedule thing? Like they're just thinking about the next thing they want to do and like putting magic into that? Just like, what?
Yes. Well, what I suggest is really enhancing presence for this moment. And just as you described, we can experience magic. We can choose it in any single moment. So if you're feeling, let's take that scenario of the overworked mother and professional, just to draw a picture. And in this moment, she's rushing. She has to go do this thing. And in order to take care of her family and also satisfy her career or her job, in that moment, you can take 17 seconds, you could take 90 seconds and connect with the purest of essence in your heart, just that purity, and realize all of it. Just shift for a moment in that moment, because eternity is just an ever unfolding now. So be in heaven, if you want to call it that, right now. And that's a gift. See, in order to do that, you have to appreciate yourself. You have to give yourself permission to do it. And that is a self-loving act. And love works every single time. Exponentially, the choice for love will unfold and ripple and ripple and ripple in your life, in the next moment, the next moment, the next moment, and into the frequency spectrums of everything and everyone that you come into contact with. And so you can experience magic in this very second, even if you give yourself 3 seconds. 3 seconds of joy, 3 seconds, my body and the energies of all of the universe created my child. Oh, my precious child that I have to rush to right now. But oh my goodness, I experienced that joy and that magic and the beauty of who I am. It cooperated with the beauty of everything in this universe, the stardust that my child is composed of. And there's some magic right there. And then maybe you'll look up at the tree from that 30 seconds or 90 seconds and see the light in that magical way and feel that there are elementals and fairies who are cheering for you, loving your child and yourself in that manner. And your child is, of course, an extension of you. So, well, that's kind of a long answer, but I was going with it with that lady, that we created.
Yeah, because I think also the ego is trying to stop you from, or at least that's my experience, that my ego was like, Jannecke is not magical, all right? It's not magical. That's just a tree. And, like you said, we have to choose it. At the same time, there are a lot of people who wants to open up to, abilities or see things that they cannot see because that's connected to, the other realm, and that seems very magical in a sense. So what would you say to those who are saying, well, Tricia, you have abilities, you can sense things, you can see things, but I can't. So I'm just seeing like the physical, what that's there. And I yearn to see those fairies or what, you are seeing.
Well, I'm going to answer that in 2 parts, if I may. First, starting at the end about like seeing fairies or seeing, non-physical beings or whatever it is. I think that often we put a lot of pressure on ourselves we think that our physical eyes are going to experience something that is dramatically phenomenal. Well, the truth of the matter is non-physical or less physical beings and consciousnesses are a different kind of physicality or a different kind of vibration. So they don't actually occur on the light spectrum that our eyes are trained to perceive. Now, I say trained to perceive because it does occur that we sometimes experience, despite the physical eyes, the visual aspect of something that would be a non-physical consciousness or less physical. So a fairy or a past loved one or an angel or something. And you may have noticed that I said despite our physical eyes, because again, they're mostly trained to see a certain light spectrum that keeps us physically safe. So they're actually doing a really good job. They're making sure we're not getting chased down by cars and lions and, whatever else, other kind of predators. That's their job, and that's fantastic. But whatever it is that we see or perceive visually, whether with the physical visual sense or the clairvisual sense, the clairvoyance, we're actually seeing or understanding it, receiving the information in our mind. And so as clairvoyance, the spiritual kind of seeing functions, we a lot of times close our eyes, not necessarily always, but sometimes we close our eyes or we just kind of give our eyes a break. So you may see people who are using their clairvoyance, either close their eyes or kind of look to the side or just look almost nowhere, like in a daydream. And that's because they're paying attention to the spiritual eye. And that is just as real as the physical eyes. It's just a different light spectrum that it's actually more sensitive and capable of perceiving and translating the information. So that's the first thing. I want everyone to know, if you can close your eyes and even conjure a memory of something that happened yesterday or at some time in your past, and you can paint a picture of it in your mind's eye, that is your spiritual eye working. It's different. Recalling a memory is sure a different kind of information that you're examining than receiving or co-creating something with another consciousness or another energy collection, but it's the same function. So I'd like to let people know that if you can visualize in that way, whether it's memory or creating a new memory, or creating a new experience, that is your third eye or your spiritual eye functioning. A lot of times I hear people saying like, my third eye isn't open or I'm not clairvoyant. But I think that we actually, maybe not everyone, because sometimes people, if I put them through that exercise, they're like, well, I can feel the experience. I can feel the memory, and I can hear in my mind's ear the words that were said. Well, that's the same thing. It's actually happening through the third eye as well. It's just translating into different non-physical senses that you prefer, and it's just as powerful. The second part is, I've forgotten right now, so let's move on.
All right.
I remember, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Is to be able to continue to open up to those abilities and those skills of seeing, feeling, whatever it is in the spiritual sense, in the spiritual realms or the non-physical realms, is devotional time. Going into that moment that we just painted the picture with our busy mom, being able to give yourself permission to feel connection with your own inner being, whether that's those 90 seconds or 10 minutes. And so, of course, I'm talking about meditation and maybe prayer of some kind. And the thing that I have people tell me, and I want everyone to know that if you don't have this regular practice and you feel like I can't do it, I sit down to do it, my mind wanders, that's normal. That's like if Jannecke were starting her jogging, a jogging trip that you're going on?
Yeah.
The first day you did it and you said, and you hadn't been jogging, and then you said, I can't run a mile because my legs start to hurt. Well, that's because you're starting to, and your muscles need to get trained. But you running the quarter of a mile, if that's what you can do that day, counts. And it works. So it's just training the mind to, what I say, stand down. And the mind, I mean the lower mind, or the one that is the conscious mind, who is keeping track of what's happening day to day, or what's already been created and what might be created in the future, rather than being present. So that's one tip I would say is 10 minutes of breathing, giving yourself permission to experience your own essence, or if you want to think of it as your spirit guides or source energy, and just keep at it, and your mind starts to obey you.
And later on, we're also going to make a video for my membership where we're going to talk about open up our abilities. So those who are interested in that, you can click on the link below this video. But I want to go back to the universal laws a bit, because I think those are connected too, because everything is connected. So what are the laws that you are most focused on, that are most important for you and that you speak mostly about?
I'm actually doing a series just for my Patreon community. Well, you can access it through my Patreon community, where for 7 months, we're going to be, each of these lunar cycles, we're going to be experiencing a universal law, basically studying it, connecting to it, understanding it, and an archangel. And actually, more than just one particular archangel is going to be contributing on this. So it would be developing a relationship with that archangelic being, and also receiving the guidance from that archangelic being about the particular universal law. And so what the universal laws are really just different, as we're talking about perspectives, different perspectives of one energy, really just of energy. And so the first one that I'm going to be talking about, the first one we're going to be studying together, is the law of one. And we're going to be doing that with the Archangel Michael. The first class is about a week from now as we're doing this recording. And so Archangel Michael and the law of one, as the way that these inspirationally came together, is the energy that we understand we tend to call Archangel Michael, is essentially the first tier of creation of source energy. This source energy sought to experience itself. And the first energies, or the first kind of duality that was created, is what the tier that we understand as the archangelic. And Archangel Michael is considered to be that very first of the archangels. So sort of like the first sun, I guess you would say. And of course, these are just ways for us to experience the story of, energy. So anyway, so that law of one is what you were just saying, Jannecke, as you started this question, is everything is connected, and understanding that the access to the one energy is actually in the oneness of yourself. So that's one of them. There are just infinite ones. And what's interesting is I'm going over this package of 7 universal laws. Of course, we can cut up the perspectives to energy or universal laws infinitely. You could never stop taking down and putting names on universal laws. But I'm looking at 7, and what's interesting is the one that is kind of most popular to us, the law of attraction, is really woven in through all of them, but it doesn't have its own specific month because it's kind of referenced throughout all of them. Yeah.
I have several questions here. I have to ask you first, is this information that you have received through channeling?
It is. Well, of course, everything is infinite intelligence. Everything is out there. So I have also read other people's perspectives, and I take inspiration from that. I am not specifically referencing other people's material that are published for this. So, but just the names of them, I've sort of like allowed my awareness to call to other people's expression of it as well. But what I do is I kind of release all of that. I've never like read a whole book on the universal laws or anything like that at this point. But I do listen to Esther Hicks, as we all do. And she's wonderful. And she talks about the law of attraction. I remember long ago listening to Deepak Chopra. He, of course, talks about the universal laws. But when I get to the place of engaging in the content and engaging with the people who are co-creating it with me, like the students, then yes, it will be channeled in the moment. Even if every time I write a class, no matter how detailed my outline is, 50 to 60% of it is channeled in the moment. Always. It's just how it works. And that's the intention that I have. And literally with these classes, there's going to be channeled information from the archangel and perhaps other non-physical consciousnesses, light beings, who will be channeling that guidance and that perspective as well. So yes, and of course, no, because everything is one and it's all created anyway.
Right. Makes sense. So the law of attraction, is that the same as the law of vibration, you would say?
I would say that the law of attraction, yeah, that's a good way to say it. The law of vibration can also, You could look at it either way. Yes, I just feel both of those reflecting into basically, when you get down to it, it's how energy works. But yeah, I would definitely equate those two. In a study on the law of vibration, I would say definitely we would talk a lot about the law of attraction and bringing a fuller, rounded perspective to what we're already studying and understanding and experiencing as the law of attraction. Yes, the law of vibration, generally speaking, would speak to how that we can only experience something with which we have a like frequency, which is very similar to how we state the law of attraction. But the law of vibration also will communicate how we create our own frequency and we co-create it, and that changes, kind of like the butterfly effect, the entire world, the entire universe, by our co-creation, by our intentions.
I've been speaking a lot about the law of attraction before, and now I'm laughing on my own what I was going to say, because I was going to say, and I still am puzzled about it. I still haven't figured it out, but who has? Like, it is huge. And I got this thought the other day, like, okay, so we attract who we are and what we are vibrating on, but still all our beliefs has its own frequency, all our emotions has its own frequency. So I'm wondering, so when I'm attracting another person, what part of me am I attracting? Like, I'm consisting of all these parts, right? And all these beliefs and all these emotions. Mm-hmm. So how does the universe pick, like, that emotion is going to, that is, you know, matching with this person. So that is what we choose to focus on now. Do you get my question?
I do, absolutely. And I actually see two opportunities that that this unfolds for us, sort of like one way that's very expanded and one way that is a bit more contracted, and neither is better than the other. Just like we were saying, that the things that we overcome, that the challenges or the puzzles that we figure out, allow us to experience the unfolding of the lesson that we've learned in a way that is amazing. So there is, on the more contracted side, it is the sum total of all of that you're talking about. Our frequency that we're emitting is the sum total of all of the beliefs, all of the thoughts, all of that. Really, what the frequency is, just to clarify, is essentially our feeling state. So if we can think of a radio tower sending out a signal, our signal is our feeling state. That's what is creating everything about us. And so some of that is conscious and some of that is subconscious. And what is beautiful, really, is we can look at it, even in the contracted kind of state, perspective, I should say, those beliefs that we might think are limiting beliefs, and we think, well, those are holding me back from attracting or aligning with something that is my wildest dreams. They're not, though, because those limiting beliefs are things that we're going to grow past. It was Carl Jung who said, we don't solve problems, we outgrow them. So when we outgrow them, it's so that. Beautiful, right? Yes. Yeah. Or we vibrate above them, outgrowing them, growing through the soil. And in order to grow, we have to actually receive nutrients from the ecosystem, or receive energy, love, support, knowledge from the universe. And that is a beautiful experience. So even in that contracted state, what we would call limiting beliefs are there to help us to grow and become even more powerful, to go back deeper into our own selves and say, what is me? What is my energy? What is the truth, the pure truth of my being? And then that grows. Now, in the expanded kind of perspective, when we do kind of really get into that deep, deep, pure essence of the self, the pure individual experience of my God essence, and that is enhanced in this particular moment, suddenly it is imbued so loudly, if we want to call it that, so powerfully, that for whatever moment those limiting beliefs drop, and then amazing experiences align with us. You know what I mean? Like winning the lottery kind of experiences, synchronistically finding your soulmate and having a whirlwind relationship, getting the fantastic dream job. But we don't even want to have those experiences every single day or every single moment. It's not really sustainable to tolerate the whirlwind experiences all the time, right? So we kind of actually prefer the growing gently, the more sustainable kind of growth. And every now and again, we have those bursts of amazing things happen. And what really causes any of that is a deepening of the truth of who we are, that self-love, that self-connection.
I love that perspective because I go to the school in Oslo and we work a lot on, or my teacher is saying she doesn't like the word work. She's just say it's a process. We're in a process of, but I am stuck in like saying the work. But it doesn't mean that it's, you know, we have to work hard, because I think that's a belief too. But I've sometimes I feel a bit stuck in a belief that the belief needs to change. And some beliefs are difficult to change. Like, I still believe that, even though I'm very aware of this belief, but I still believe it. But you had another perspective here, which was in a way very feminine, like soft, and instead of like, you know, pushing, like I have to change it, like go deeper, like who am I? Who am I? Yes. And go from there instead of perhaps focusing on I have to change this belief. And I believe that that if something doesn't work for us, we have to try another thing. It doesn't mean that, oh, you know, this exercise or this doesn't work. Well, maybe it doesn't work for me, but it can work for other people, or maybe it doesn't work for me right now, or maybe I've tried it too many times. I need to just expand and look at it from another perspective, because that there's learning in that. So I think, and that's such a wonderful conclusion that I've come to, that there's always a way, and if it doesn't work what I've done now, there's another solution. There's always a solution. Yes. Instead of thinking, oh, this exercise works for everybody, it doesn't work for me, something wrong with me, you know?
Well, you know what is kind of beautiful about that experience? Any of the exercises or the tools that we're using for our, if we want to call it inner work, self-improvement, what they are tools. And the tools are there to assist you. They're there to assist you as the sovereign, as the agent, as the God essence. And so, yes, sometimes we give sort of the authority to the tool, and we say, this thing is going to fix me. But that's what, if it's doing that, it's asking, it's not if it's not working for us, it's because it's being asked to put down and recognize that it's all about you again. It turns us deeper into ourselves in order for us to, again, vibrate above it, to outgrow it. But we have all these wonderful tools that are available to us. Some people don't use the tools of, say, angels. That just doesn't work for them. And that is fine, because you know what? Angels don't need you to know that they're angels. They don't need you to use that word. They're still helping you when you ask for help. If you're asking for help just to, I don't know who, help. You know, I want help from whatever is the experience of this life. You still receive that help, and you receive it according to what is best for your highest good, for your inner being. Your inner being is always showing you what lessons it is learning, what it wants you to learn. Always, everything in your experience is your inner being saying, hey, let's learn this. Let's grow with this. Let's allow this to be a step that our muscles pull us up and over.
Yeah, I love that, seeing the world like that, because then that actually makes the world magical to me. When I am aware, when I manage to be aware during the day, then everything that happens is like, oh, I wonder what that is about. And I wonder what that is about. And I just hit my toe right now, like in the door. I was like, what is that about? And I have some problems with my fridge. And I'm like, that's so funny. Like, there's a second fridge that I have a problem with. Like, that means something. It's about something. And then that helps me, like use humor, you know, I don't get too upset, and it kind of gets magical. But it is an awareness, it is a perspective. And I also love that I've come to that there's not one solution, there's not one teaching, and that I can change. Like, I was very into angels for a few years ago, and now I'm not anymore, and that's okay. Not judging, because that's growth, and that's, like you're saying, we're getting what we need right now. And if you're listening to that all the time, you are aligned with yourself, with your soul.
And that is very interesting, because I didn't know that about you. Then, of course, the angels or whomever are bringing in, like, you don't have to have angels or whatever. And that was literally part of the conversation. It's kind of interesting. It's synchronistic and divine, of course. And, that is true. Like you sharing about stubbing your toe in the refrigerator. Yesterday, my husband and I were joking. I was saying, wow, I remember how how much it was so difficult for me when I was like in my 20s, and my car, like always having a problem with my car. There was something that needed to be fixed. There was a parking ticket. There were things that I couldn't afford all the time, and it seems easier now. My husband said, well, he's a good, I would suggest that you actually get more parking tickets than you used to, but you don't care about them anymore. They don't bother you anymore. You just pay them and you move on with your life. And he's like, now it's basically the way you live. My husband said, is you're saying, I dare you, universe, to send me a parking ticket. And we're laughing. And I said, yeah, I dare you. I walked out and I had a parking ticket.
No, really. Be careful what you wish for.
It was exactly, but it made me laugh.
Yeah.
And I again, gratefully paid it, but it cracked me up that I did dare the universe, and it said, you want to joke with us? Here you go.
And that's a great example of how powerful our creation is, You can start with that, just having fun with creation.
Rather than work, it's play. Like, you're saying you have the teacher who's trying to ask you to not say work anymore, but you can play. Your refrigerator breaks down. Oh, what an interesting thing that I've created. I wonder why I did. Where's the fun? I wonder what good can come of this. And that little bit of a shift can make life more magical. And because you'll see that there's going to be good that comes of it if you just focus upon that. Focus on looking for it, because there will be good that comes of it, but we can choose not to experience it on the other side. We can choose to just forget it, but if we keep looking for the good and having our hearts open to it, then we get to go, yippee, there's the good that came through this experience.
Oh, I love that. That's going to be the end of this video. I love that. And thank you for the reminder. I've heard it so many times and I know it's so true. I just needed to hear it again. So thank you so much, Tricia, and all the best with your classes and your live show. And you're a writer too. So there's so much on your website. I love looking into it, and you're doing one-to-one sessions. So really exciting. And now we're going to do another video. And so thank you so much for coming on my show.
Oh, it's such an honor, Jannecke. Thank you for the work that you do. Such incredible free resources. Just, I don't know how many hundreds you have on your YouTube channel, and you definitely have blessed me in my journey. So thank you so much.
Thank you for that. And thank you so much for watching, guys. And remember to subscribe to both our YouTube channels if you haven't before. Much light from Oslo and the US. Bye.